Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sing and I'll be your MC today. On behalf of Maybank Securities, it is my pleasure to warmly welcome you to our 2025 Market Outlook and Feng Shui event. Before we kickstart the event, I would like to give a big shout out to the launch of our new app. So it's called Maybank Trade SG. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I strongly encourage everyone here to do so. The app features a refreshed interface with customizable widgets designed to enhance your trading experience. Plus, you have access to outstanding reports by Thilan and his team. Next, we have also launched our very own Telegram channel called Trade with Maybank Securities Singapore. Kindly scan the QR code on the screen or on the rostrum to be updated daily on stock picks. Before we begin, let me give you a quick overview of today's event. We'll start off with a macro outlook by Brian Lee, our economist. This will be followed by the 2025 market outlook presented by Thilan Wickramasinghe, our head of research. Then we'll enjoy a Feng Shui talk by Master Ken Ko, and afterwards we'll have a Q&A with our panelists. Lastly, we'll conclude the event with an exciting lion dance performance to usher in prosperity for the new year. After the lion dance, we'll have a photo-taking session with our C-suites, so please do stay back for the group photo. After the session, kindly proceed to the area outside the auditorium to collect your bentos. Please remember to keep your bento collection slip safe, as you will need it to redeem your bento later. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Brian to kick things off.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for spending your Saturday morning with us. So I'm Brian, I'm an economist covering Singapore at Maybank Investment Banking Group. So our macro outlook this year can be characterized as one of resilience amidst trade challenges. So after blockbuster 4% GDP growth in 2024, MTI is looking at 1 to 3% forecast range for 2025. We are on the optimistic side. We believe that GDP growth will come in at 2.6%, which is basically at the upper end of MTI's forecast range. So of course the elephant in the room is Trump's tariffs. Trump is going to be inaugurated as US President on January 20th. And I think in the lead up to his inauguration, there has been a lot of talk. He has been threatening to impose heavy tariffs on his top three trading partners, Mexico, Canada, and China. That's the opening salvo. And obviously in an environment of increased protectionism, that's not good for global trade, and that's not good for a trade-sensitive economy like Singapore, where trade is easily more than 200% of our GDP. But nonetheless, I would note that I think not all is lost. Firstly, we are in a relatively supportive global economic environment. The US is expected to grow about 2% this year, basically gliding to a soft landing. China's fiscal stimulus is expected to stabilize its economy. And on the electronics front, Singapore is a major electronics exporter, and I think we can expect the global electronics cycle to still have legs. Global electronics demand is still robust given the tech replacement cycle, and also given the increasing AI adoption in consumer electronics products. And I think that has actually benefited the semiconductor cycle. We had global semiconductor sales increasing by 20% year on year in November, for instance. The other dynamic is actually front loading. So we have noticed in the data, especially for the quarter 4 of 2024, that Chinese firms and also firms around the region are starting to stockpile advanced components, advanced electronics components in anticipation of Trump's tariffs. So we had Nordex, for instance, increasing by I think 9% year on year in December, and November was good as well. Electronics domestic exports actually increased by double digits in both months. And if we look at the PMIs as a barometer and leading indicator of manufacturing, we had December headline PMI as well as electronics PMI staying robustly expansionary above the 50 mark. So we anticipate that this front loading may actually boost manufacturing and exports in the first half of 2025. The second factor that leads us to believe in Singapore's economic resilience is easing monetary conditions. Borrowing costs are already falling. Basically, our domestic interest rates are pretty much correlated with US interest rates, and as the Fed eases, our benchmark 3-month SORA rate has been easing from a peak of 3.7% in the late 2023, and now it's already at 3% as of mid-January. We are expecting interest rates to ease further to 2.65% by end of this year, and that will benefit the interest rate sensitive sectors such as real estate and also the finance sector. You can see here from the right hand side chart that bank lending is recovering and has turned positive in growth terms as compared to the sharp contraction in 2023. And lower borrowing costs ultimately also mean it means relief for households as well as firms in general. I think we have already seen that our fixed mortgage rates have fallen below 2.5%, and that's encouraging a resurgence in home sales in recent months. We expect MAS to ease monetary policy, and that should contribute to further easing of monetary conditions. We expect MAS to ease by flattening its near slope at the January 2025 meeting. And this is as core inflation and as well as headline inflation are falling comfortably below 2%. The third resilience factor is a buoyant construction and property market. There has been a steady pipeline of infrastructure projects both on the public as well as private side. Construction contract awards actually surpassed a record high in the third quarter of 2024, surging by 55% year on year. And HDB is also ramping up the supply of BTO. They are planning to build 150 units at a time in 2025 as compared to 100 units at a time in 2024. On the private home sales front, we have seen new private home sales in November surging to the highest since March 2013, and that should support private home construction as well in this year. So just to give an overview of major infrastructure projects continuing all the way into the 2030s, we have Tuas Megaport, which is already started in 2021. We had the construction of Changi Terminal 5, which is starting this year. And we also have the construction of NS, of the Founders Memorial, that's starting this year as well. And the two integrated resorts, MBS as well as RWS, they are expanding their offerings. Marina Bay Sands is adding a 4th tower. Resorts World Sentosa is adding a new waterfront development, and they're also adding a new minion land to the Universal Studios Singapore. So the fourth factor that should boost Singapore's economic resilience is Budget 2025, which is likely to be generous and expansionary. As we all know, the elections have to be called no later than November this year, and we are expecting the government to step in a big way to support households and firms amid high living costs and also high business costs. So there could be perhaps an SG60 bonus for households in the form of cash, more CTC vouchers, and also USAVE rebates. And there could be a stronger focus on subsidies for essential goods and services like healthcare, childcare, and education, perhaps in the form of broadening CHAS card eligibility, and also perhaps in the form of topping up the child development accounts as well as EduSave accounts. And for businesses, we think that there is a possibility of corporate and personal income tax rebates. These were already provided in Budget 2024, but the personal tax rebate was actually relatively modest. It was capped at $200. We think that there could be a higher quantum this year, possibly, as we have noticed that monthly operating revenue is actually on track to surpass the government's forecast. There has been very strong tax collections lately. So this should provide the fiscal space for the government to ramp up support. And I think even as the government focuses on short-term measures to provide relief to households and businesses, I think it won't neglect the longer-term picture, which is maybe in the form of workforce development as well as upskilling initiatives. There could be skills future enhancements, and at the same time, the government could look to expand its existing schemes to promote investments in emerging areas, such as encouraging AI adoption, digitalization, sustainability, as well as internationalization. Sorry. Yeah, so as I was saying just now, there has been very strong revenue collection. Fiscal revenue actually increased by nearly 14% year on year in the first 8 months of 2024, and that is already equivalent to 75% of the government's budgeted collection. So basically, the income is coming in, and with that, there is space to offer more support. The last resilience factor would be the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone. The agreement was signed on 8th of January at the Singapore-Malaysia Leaders Retreat, and right now, the SEZ is making progress. The blueprint is being drawn up, and Singapore and Malaysia are about to embark on joint investment promotions. We think that the SEZ will strengthen economic integration between Malaysia and Singapore, and this will enable both countries to attract more investments, especially amid the dynamic of deglobalization right now and higher Trump 2.0 tariffs, which has encouraged more companies to diversify their operations from China. The SEZ basically combines Malaysia's lower operating costs and abundant resources with Singapore's strong innovation, strong financial system, and also strong trade network, as well as logistics. It combines these strengths in order to basically foster a more resilient kind of environment for investments. It aims to ease the movement of goods as well as people, and it also aims to foster a more united business environment. So we are optimistic on the SEZ. We feel that it can actually take investments into Singapore as well as Malaysia to the next level. So with that, that sums up my outlook, and I think we hope for a better 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, for the insightful presentation. Next, let's welcome Thilan to share the 2025 market outlook.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, let's usher in a little bit more prosperity than that. Good morning, everyone. Much better, much better. Look, before I talk about my market outlook, I'm going to ask you a few questions and just do a show of hands for me, okay? First question, Trump's going to be inaugurated in a couple of days' time. How many of you think that he's going to slap tariffs on China on the very first day that he takes office? Show of hands. Quite a few. Don't be shy. I'm not going to take photos and come back. So, yeah, quite a few. Yeah, good. And you know that, second question, you know that China is trying to stimulate the economy right now. How many of you think it's going to work? Wow, okay, this is good. This is good. Quite a few of you. Third question, Manchester United. How many of you think he's going to win the league this year? Come on. No one. Okay, very few brave souls. Okay, for the first two, as a house, we have some view. For the third question, we have to depend very much on Master Ko for that. So let's hold on for him. Now, let's start with. Okay, let's start with Singapore market this year. We are actually very bullish. So if you look at the left-hand chart over there, Singapore in 2024 had a very strong performance. It was one of the best performing markets. It was the best performing market in Southeast Asia, but it was also one of the best performing markets in the whole of Asia. Hong Kong was just pipped it by about 1 percentage point at 18%. But if you look at the right-hand chart, one of the things that you see is that most of the growth was very narrow. The rally was very narrow, right? As you can see, the two big lines are just the banks and the telcos. And that was it. Every other sector was down, including the REITs, which is a big part of the index. So we think going into 2025, this picture is going to change. You're going to see a lot of those down lines turning the other way. And the reason we have this confidence is we see 4 major themes that will happen this year. Right? You don't need to read all this. I'm sure we will send you a copy of this presentation pack. But let me share very briefly what these 4 themes are. The first one is Singapore, thankfully, is not Mexico or Canada or any of the big trading nations that the US is very worried about in terms of tariffs and unfair trade practices. Singapore's in ASEAN, and a couple of days ago there was a lot of anger that the defense secretary, the nominee for the defense secretary, couldn't even say where ASEAN was. Now a lot of people got angry about it. I'm actually happy, because if they can't find you, they can't hurt you. So I actually think the fact that Singapore and most of the ASEAN countries are not in the frontline radar of the Trump administration means that this will give a safe haven. And Singapore actually has a couple of things that is going for it. Number one, it actually has a bilateral trade deficit with the US. So Trump is very angry with countries that have trade surpluses. Singapore actually runs a trade deficit. And Singapore is the only country in Southeast Asia that has an FTA with the US as well. So that actually provides us with quite a bit of security. So what this means is that as Trump puts tariffs on China and Mexico and Canada, more and more businesses will look to relocate to Southeast Asia. More and more supply chains will relocate to Southeast Asia. And this benefits a lot of Singapore companies, not just the banks, but a lot of Singapore companies because of this right-hand chart. And this is just UOB, and this shows how much earnings their businesses get from being integrated in Southeast Asia. So if Southeast Asia grows, a lot of companies in Singapore grow. So that's number one. So I think that's a big mega trend that will benefit this year. Number two, quite a few of you were very optimistic that China's stimulus works, and I actually think so as well. Typically when China says they want to do something, it happens. And you can see that red line on the left-hand chart, which shows the amount of government expenditure that China has been spending. And this will start to trickle down. And why is this good for Singapore? Look at the right-hand chart. See those yellow lines? These are the top 50 market cap companies in Singapore, and 2/3 of them have revenues coming from China. Right? And right now, most of the analysts on the street are putting 0 to that. So as China starts to accelerate, a lot of those earnings will start to show up in the companies that you and I are trading. So that's megatrend number 2. Megatrend number 3. A lot of companies in Singapore have massive amounts of cash on the balance sheet. And that's not just the big caps, right? If you look at the left-hand chart, what you see is that, someone switch this mic off. What you see is that when you look at the top 50 market cap companies, even the mid-cap companies, the smaller size companies, they all have a significant amount of cash on their balance sheet. And what are they going to do with this cash? A lot of them, just like how the GLCs have been doing over the past 5 years, Sembcorp, Keppel, Singtel, they all want to do more share buybacks and they want to give more dividends. So we actually think that in the next 3 years, the dividend growth from the Singapore companies are going to accelerate. So they're going to pay more. They're going to buy back more shares. So this actually enables us to get far higher yields than what the market is expecting. So I think the market will start to upgrade expectations as we go into this year. And then the theme number 4 is AI. I know everyone says AI for everything, but if you look at our region, Singapore has been investing in AI even before AI was AI. Particularly, a lot of the large cap companies have been investing quite a lot in terms of their technology platforms and things like that. I know, I'm sure if you bank with DBS, you probably won't think that because their systems go under a few times, but that doesn't happen with Maybank. So if you look at the productivity increase, so this is actually for the banks per employee. Earnings have actually been growing, right? Since 2021, their earnings have been growing per employee, and a large part of that is because of the technology productivity that is coming through. And that's actually going to accelerate as more and more AI gets integrated into Singapore. So if you actually want to play the AI theme in Asia, Singapore is actually one of the best places to do it. And that's also because the government is behind it with the national AI policy as well. So we have these 4 big themes that will drive the market going forward this year. And apart from that, we have 3 super catalysts, what we call super catalysts that will happen this year. Number 1, Brian talked about this, the Johor Singapore Special Economic Zone. We actually think that this time it's for real, that both governments are very, very keen on making this happen. So we think that there will be a lot of opportunities for companies in Singapore to reduce their costs and increase their revenue. Number 2 is the MAS equity review. They want to make SGX great again. I know there's a lot of skepticism, and I don't think all the wish list is going to happen, but I think at least a few things will happen. I think the regulatory burden will reduce, so at least it will allow companies to list a lot more easily. You won't have the same number of trading queries and things like that the RegCo used to have. We also think that they'll make the process of listing in Singapore a lot more easier. So I think, and I don't think you'll have to wait till August 2025 to find out what the committee is going to say. I think very, very soon you will start to see some announcements coming through, and that's going to help the market as well. And number 3 is, and Brian alluded to this as well, a very generous general election budget as the government goes in for GE this year. So that will help with consumption spending as well. So all of this, we think that the STI will punch through 4,000 this year. Now remember, this looks like a fairly low target. It's only about 6-7% upside from here, but we think the risks are actually for us to upgrade this number. Remember, I said there are 4 themes, and these 4 themes we haven't been able to actually reflect in our numbers yet because Trump hasn't come in, so we don't really know what he's doing. China's engine hasn't revved up yet, so we have to wait for those things, and you will see that through the year you will see those upgrades coming through. Think back to January 2024, and there was very low expectations of Singapore in January 2024 as well. And through the year we saw the upgrades coming. We think that will happen this year as well. In terms of sectors, these are the sectors that we are very bullish about this year. So we like the banks, we like gaming, we like industrials. The internet names like Grab and C, we think will do really well this year. The REITs, has been a sector that has been absent last year in the rally, but you can't have the STI punching through 4,000 without the REITs actually coming in. And we think this year the REITs will start to catalyze upwards. And the telco names as well we are quite positive on. And these are our top 10 picks to start the year. Little bit more heavier towards the large cap names. But I think that's the right risk reward right now, that you can actually play the large caps and still get some good upside. We also like two small cap names, Singpost and Marco Polo. Right now, Singpost is looking to sell some of their assets, and including this place, great assets. So I think they can make some good returns out of this. So with that, I am going to end, but I want to show you this. Every Monday, not because you've seen me enough now, but every Monday, 12 o'clock, for 20 minutes, we have a live show which is absolutely free for all of you to join, where we actually share the latest market updates as well as our top picks for the week. So, if you want to spend 20 minutes of your day starting the week on how to trade, I strongly encourage you to register and join our Market Mondays event. With that, thank you very much.
Sorry. Thank you, Thilan, for the really engaging session. Now let's invite Master Kenko to take the stage.
Good morning. Wow, this is, I think it's a bigger audience than the Donnie Yen movie. Oh, it's full house. People standing here. Thank you very much for coming. You are really enthusiastic. I don't know whether you have been here last year, but I've been here last year. Then I would have told you that starting from 2025, it's gonna be a very good year insofar as equities, stocks. That's what you're talking about. A lot of people have been asking me, of course, about things. Yeah, this is Feng Shui. This is the year of the snake. That sort of stuff. Some people will ask me, Master Ken, what is the lucky number? Well, I don't encourage gambling. If you got some extra cash, put the money here. I'm not paid for this. The reason is we are looking forward towards the year of the snake, and there are some ingredients at play that's going to bring you towards. And I'm very glad that the first two speakers over here has actually resonated with what I'm about to present. All right, snake year. The snake year is the year of the wood snake. Chinese New Year is 29th of January, right? What if it's a baby is born on the 29th of January? Do you think is one year a snake already? Not quite, huh? Wow, you're very well informed, huh? So when is it going to be? 4th of February. Yeah, that's because you know that you deposit money in the ATM hoping to get rich. It doesn't work this way. I'm going to teach you a better way of doing it. All right? But this year, actually, it happens on the 3rd of January. 3rd of February at about 10 p.m. Later on, I'll show you the chart. Okay, now, I want to just do a little bit of explanation over here as to why we feel that the year itself is going to impact you insofar as your zodiac symbols are concerned. Certain years, tend to be good, certain years tend to have some problems, and kind of thing. I'm here not to tell you your problems, because if you want to read your problems, you go to the shopping malls. Downstairs is one. All right? You would have been kind of overloaded with so much information. Some say it's good, others say it's bad. Who do you believe? Do you believe yourself? You know, that's the reason why, in my kind of advice to a lot of customers, I do this every day. I advise you to take charge of your own actions. That is important. Now, how does this work? Look at the snake chart there. Yeah? The 12 animal sign there. Snake is basically the year in 2025. Okay? And do you know that the chart of Singapore, as been mentioned by Brian, Singapore turns 60 years old. This system is actually a Chinese calendar system. In other words, it goes round on a 12-year cycle. Correct or not? Means every 12 years you come back to the year of snake. Yeah? And for the record, if you look at 21-3, which is 12 years ago, well, I want to tell you there's something that has actually, well, if you take history as a record, Dow Jones Industrial Index actually climbed 26% within that 12 months. What is it going to be like? Well, I'm a little bit more, bullish than the ordinary folks here. Frankly speaking, I've been waiting for this, and it's never too late. Because I feel that the next 3 years is going to be a very, very, very active year insofar as money accumulation, assets accumulation are concerned. Now, the year is wood snake. Wood snake basically gives us an indication as to what the outcome of the year is generally going to be. That's going to be a harmonious outcome. Why? Because wood supports fire. And fire is about economic activities. All right? Now, of course, you've got all those kind of things, but in 2025, I'll tell you, there's going to be a lot of optimism, lots of hopes, lots of expectations. This is from a Feng Shui point of view. Okay? Past snake years, of course, results in stock market activities. The next 3 years, like I mentioned to you, are 5 years, and it actually has got very high temperature insofar as our economic, environmental health is concerned. Okay, this is the year. Now, 3rd February 2025, 10 p.m. This is a time when actually the year of the snake will kick in. Okay, on the right hand side, you've got the QR code there. You can download that QR code for your own personal Bazi chart. Now, this is important because you may think that, I'm not born in the year of the snake, or, I'm not affected by something that I'm going to describe here, but then you may have it in your month, or your day, or your hour, and so it will give you different kind of impact. But nevertheless, you'll be affected some way. All right. So when we do a Bazi chart, a basic kind of analysis, we touch upon all sectors of your life, including what is external, what is in your career and your business, whatever is in your personal life, as well as in the hour pillar, what we call the time that you're born will actually determine the energies of the year that is going to affect your assets, your cash value, your investments, whatsoever that's touching upon your finances. Now, these are the 5 industries. Broad-based category. Technology and AI, of course, is in this fire category. We are talking about stocks and equities, investments, and all this kind of stuff. It is going to do very well. I'll put it this way. If you had attended my talk 3 years ago, I would have told you the same. I told you that day to invest straight away. If you've done that, I think Thilan would have also presented a chart over there. You would be laughing now. Okay, not too late. Still can do it today. Don't wait until the goat year or the monkey year to come back to me and say, how come it's like that? Oh, well, there's never too late a thing. I'm saying this because if you look at the past couple of years, right, starting from the pig year, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago, pigs, followed by the rat, followed by the ox, followed by the tiger, that hasn't been so great a couple of years. Right? So the past 5 years never been so good. Now, is it something that we can predict? No, it's just a forecasting system. However, if we look at historical past and records, all right, we'll see that, well, the snake years and the fire years, which is the next 3 years, that's going to do very well insofar as equities and stocks are concerned. Okay, let's talk about the snake. Those who are born in your snake. And therefore, Singapore turns 60 years old. Actually, Singapore is also born in your snake. Yeah, it's true. That's how we look at it, but nothing political here. Huh? Right? What it means is, if you are born in your snake, this year, you fun, type, trade. Vantage is, the clash against the ruling year. Okay? So, what I'm saying here is, there's going to be a lot of changes. And changes can be good, can be bad. The way and the solution to make it good is make sure that you take charge of things. Simple as that. I'm going to touch upon not all of these stars. For those who are in finance and in accounting, please switch your mind for the next 45 minutes or so. Whatever is red here is good. Black is no good. Alright, just switch. 45 minutes only. Okay. What is good over here? You've got a golden carriage. Golden carriage star basically is an invitation to better jobs and increased financials. If you are talking about stocks and equities, well, this is quite a year for you to start thinking. But don't think too long. Don't think until Christmas. Okay, because it'll be too late. Now, what about the negative things? Of all this, there's this thing called the hidden corpse. Alright, the hidden corpse, this is all namesake. Hidden corpse basically means seriously for the sake of people who are concerned about, well, this year I'm born here a snake, or you've got somebody in the family is born here a snake, and you're concerned about, say, a health problem, right? And these things happen like this. There is a propensity or a high chance of things being relapsed. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying you watch out. Okay? So hidden corpse are like that. What about people, younger people in the audience here? You thought you got rid of your ex-boyfriend 5 years ago, suddenly he knocks on the door. Like that. It's called hidden corpse. Past. The past actually creeps up upon you, that sort of thing. Okay. What about a horse? The horse has got this year the sun star. The sun star is a very interesting, what we call a nobleman star. What is a nobleman star? In Chinese, they call it 贵人. So is 贵人 good or bad? It is good. Yeah? It sometimes motivates you, not all the time push you to, the good directions. Yeah? It motivates you. Sometimes it instigates you. That is the beauty of nobleman. Don't mistake nobleman for somebody who is always very good. No. I'll tell you this. If you have the horse in your year, this year may be a year when your greatest enemy is at his greatest strength. And he instigates you. And then you do your very best to become even better than him. This is what we call the nobleman star. Right. The sun star, on the other hand, has got a unique characteristic. What is a unique characteristic? This year is a year for you to solve problems. So if you've got a past problem, for example, some people have got a past problem and they haven't solved it for whatever reasons it is, well, this is the year for you to go back and confront that problem, because it will be easy for you to solve and a solution will be much more congenial. Okay. The other thing, peach blossom star. Especially I like to ask the ladies, what is peach blossom star? 桃花. And they will think that, oh, if I've got the peach blossom star, I'm going to attract all the men in the world. No. You not only will attract the opposite sex, you attract males, you attract females, you attract young, you attract old, good, bad, ugly, dogs and cats as well. Okay? So because the peach blossom star is basically a star of attraction. Alright? It simply makes you look good. Alright? It's different from another star. Later on you'll find out, for example, people who are born in here, a dog has got this red matchmaker star. That one is different. This one just makes you look good. So if your boyfriend or your wife is born in the year of the horse, don't be surprised. A couple of mornings she'll wake up or he'll wake up and say, hey, I'm looking very good today, you know. I'm very pretty today. Oh, okay, you know it's this kind of star at work. Okay. Try and manage it properly because there's also intelligent star. Make good decisions, make wise decisions out of it. That is important. Don't call yourself a chicken. This is called rooster. Chicken is meant for the table. I got people coming, I'm a chicken. See, you're not a chicken. Rooster. Rooster got his general star. In other words, if you are born here a rooster, you got a rooster in your chart. This year you take charge of things. You try and lead. Be in the leading position. Do something active. Do something good. Take charge. You know. Come up with some innovative ideas. This because you are basically the performer of the year. Okay. And of course, golden luck means there is monetizing luck. Means roosters this year must act. Must put things into action. Because if you think you've got money luck, then you do nothing about it, nothing will happen. Alright, so this is important. There's a thing about forecasting of the year itself. Because if you do nothing, you are inactive about it, nothing is going to happen. So that is very important. Yeah. Of course, for the good part of it, there is a negative thing called a 5 ghost. 5 ghosts doesn't mean you're going to see ghosts. 5 ghosts basically means you're very likely to meet with petty people. Petty people in Chinese is called 小人. Right? So manage them. This year is reasonably good, especially for those who take up responsibilities in business as well as in work, including your investments. Okay. Some things that I need to touch upon: environment. This year is going to be very hot weather. Heat waves, you know what's happening. Alright? Fires, middle of June and July. Now, one thing which I have been discussing and talking about is this. What happened is, in accordance to the Feng Shui chart, there's this middle part of the chart that tells us what is going to happen from the central part of areas. So, the part there is relating to this year in 2025 happened to be what we call a sickness star in the middle, right? And we are anticipating, I say anticipating, but it's already happening. Something of a threat of a pandemic coming from central areas like China, Africa, and Middle East. And it's got to do with respiratory problems. So you notice in China, I think they are alerted to this HMPV, something. It's respiratory. In Central Africa, disease access came out. You know about it? You never read that. Hey, find out, because it's going to be serious, because this year is going to be a lot of traveling, so don't ditch your mask. That's my advice for you. It's going to be useful. Okay. Start of a 3-year cycle, market confidence, expansionary fiscal policies, definitely. Alright. What about behavior of people? Gentle, friendly, but generally people are not willing to work hard. So work a little bit harder, you'll be on top of them. Let's talk about the tiger. Wow, that's one good, really good stuff. This one is got a prosperity star. You know what is the difference in Feng Shui terminologies between wealth star and prosperity star? Wealth star is assets accumulation. That means it takes a bit of time, takes a lot of efforts. Prosperity star is immediate money. You like it? Huh? Okay, better go back and check whether you got tiger in your house. Got tiger in your house, tumpang, you buy toto. No, I like say, I don't encourage gambling. But you see, those who are born near tiger will be kind of endowed with this kind of opportunities. It may not be, lucky draws or whatever, but they will be able to see opportunities that are linked very much to financial gratification. All right. So this is not a bad thing. However, there's this thing which is a robbery star. Okay, robbery star because you have a lot of money. People also want to look for you for scams. It's like that. It is such. Okay. No names. I've got a bank which was also kind of affecting me, and finally I got it resolved. Okay. So things like this. That's going to be a good year for the year of the those who are born with the tiger in the year itself. I think it's good. Where and which area should you focus on? Like I said, take a medium-term kind of outlook. 3 years, 5 years, I will tell you, you will see your money grow. This is important, right? I mean, not everybody is financially savvy, but we got to look towards experts for advice, for cues, all right? You just heard the two experts before me, okay? And this is resonating with it. Next 3 years, that's good. What about a rat? The rat has got the emperor star. The rat, whatever you say, people will follow. And that's good. Yeah, whatever you say, people. Emperor, what happens if you don't follow? I chop your head, okay? That's a position, but there's a lot of responsibilities with it, huh? Okay. So with great powers comes great responsibilities. Okay. Now the thing is, it is also a very proactive kind of energy that comes with the Emperor star. So it is not all about talk. It is about action as well, which would then lead to the Jade Hall star. Now, the Jade Hall star is a wealth star. So the wealth star is presented by benefactors. That means the recipients of the work. So therefore, the red desire must produce some kind of a sterling results, some kind of nice things, creativity that people would just buy, into your ideas, into whatever you have, okay? And this is a good thing, right? The rest of the 2 stars, I'll tell you, it's such a great year for red, but I just give you a warning. Red next year is meeting the year of the horse, meaning to say, red next year clash big time against the horse year. So, please, make sure if you're born year red this year, try and make the best when the sun is still shining. Okay, yeah, it's important, huh? Make all the decisions, make all the important whatever strategies that you have, put it into action. Because next year is not going to be so great for those who are born year of red. What about monkey? You see, earlier on we talk about the horse. I think there's a sun star. What happened? The moon star is shining about a monkey. What is the moon star? For those who are, let's say, working, or even for those who are not working, most of you are, I think, you look very rich now. I think all you are retired. Okay. It's like that. The moon star is like that. It is a representative of a female. It's an inspirational kind of thing. So, in the years that is leading towards the next 12 months, you may have an opportunity whereby a female person come to you and say, look, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you something that is so good you cannot refuse. Alright? Now, of course, we are all skeptics. I will give you this advice. Don't turn a prospect into a suspect. Oh, it's true. Because with this, you better be open-minded about things. The more open-minded you are, the better your chances and your opportunities. This is how it works with the moon star. Okay? And of course, there's another thing that is an affirmation to this year. For those who are born in your monkey, the third star in the red column over here, you've got this heavenly noble. 我们叫天乙贵人. This is a number 1 ranking when it comes to nobility star. That means those with the monkey in the chart will definitely meet with people who's going to be of some kind of help to you, for sure. For sure, I tell you, this is an affirmation. Alright? What about the negative things? Well, try not to commit or overcommit to other people. That is important. That's to other people. Alright? So your commitments, you've got to do it done within range of your comfort. This is what it is for. But it's going to be a lot of magic for monkeys this year. Quite a magical year. So it's a very good year. These are the 4 people who Fan Tai Shui. What do you do when you Fan Tai Shui? Run to the temple, pray. But after that, you don't know what you're praying for. So when you go to the temple, now you know to pray for all those kind of things. Okay? So for example, those who are born here are tiger. It's like that. Let me explain to you just a little bit how this works. Tiger this year has got a harm. Harm means you see, if you recall, the tiger has got this prosperity star, right? Very good, right? Got money, and then you got money, you're empowered, you want to help some people, right? But the point is, don't expect things in return. Because of this relationship with the snake here, what will happen is, you will not be gratified. People will not be so grateful to you, and then you become disappointed. That's our thing, alright? So that's just about it. What I'm trying to tell you is that Fan Tai Shui is not a big deal. It's not really something so negative. You just got to manage it, that's all. Okay? Let's go on to the next one, the pig this year. Okay, pig this year is a clash. Pig this year is a clash, but it doesn't mean it's doom and gloom. It doesn't mean you stay at home and then don't go out. No, continue your life. I'll tell you, there's still the sky horse. Matter of fact is, it's quite the opposite. The more you travel, the better it is. For those who can travel for work, travel. For those who cannot travel for work, travel for fun. Go. Pack your bags, just go. Alright, the more you travel, the better. You see, all this kind of things is an encapsulation of how you react to the year. You see what I mean? If you've got such a star, and you activate it, it will come into your favor. This is my message to you. And it's been managed this way. It's happened, it's yield results. Take a good look at it. If you can, for those who are born in your pig, travel as much as possible. One negative thing about the big consumer. Okay, guys, don't stop looking at the latest model of cars. Okay, and for the ladies, same lah. Don't look at the airbags. Try lah. Just put off your big purchases because you would just want to spend a big sum of money. Alright. Now, it's a very interesting concept. When I do this kind of presentation for, let's say, sales professionals. Let's say I do a lot of talks for developers, salespeople, insurance people, that kind of thing. And I say, well, you look at this and put this into the prospect's position. Don't you think you'll profile the customer better? In other words, if you know that your customer or your prospect is born here or pig, I'll tell you, try and be as honest as possible. Don't cheat, don't lie, don't push him. But the ability of those who are your prospects or customers trying to buy something from you is very, very, very high. That's what it means. So that's why you've got to apply this not just to yourself. Alright? The system over here, allows you quite a bit of flexibility to apply it to people around you or the people that you deal with. That's even more important. Okay, let's move to the rabbit. The poor rabbit for the last 3 years has been suffering like hell. Are you rabbits? I'm sure there's some rabbits here. You've been, I don't blame you if you look at this, you read, and then you get a little bit depressed. Okay, but I'll tell you, next year is going to be great. Okay, so try and just bear with the next 12 months. I know it's quite unbearable. But anyway, there is this Thrive Star. Thrive Star basically means there's aggressive growth if you do something, and the word is focus. Don't be distracted. As long as you're not distracted, it is great for you. Alright? This is the way to do things insofar as, well, if you're told that you have got not so great positive stars. The point is, you just focus on that one good one, the rest of which will not work out. Okay, let's talk about what's threatening you. Suspended guest and calamity star basically means you are exposed to danger. So those who are born in the year of rabbit this year, please don't jump off airplanes or jump off the bridge. Don't do, in other words, you've got to avoid dangerous sports. Alright. What is dangerous sports? Well, things that endangers your life. You know it. 2 days ago, I was at one property development. One of the audience asked me, oh, dangerous sports, does it include crawling with my wife? I said, no. Crawling with your wife is not dangerous sport, it's a daily sport because before you open your mouth, you're finished. Don't engage in this kind of the worst things, alright? So this year, well, I'll tell you, for those who are born in the year of rabbit, try and keep yourself safe. This is important. If you're traveling, don't go and visit the volcanoes. Try not to. Right? But don't cancel your traveling plans, huh? What about a goat? Same thing. Goat this year, if you read about it, 0 positive star. Now, why is it that there is this bright horse star? Let me explain to you, yeah? That's because it's a different system of this star allocation. How many stars are there in this system? 400. We can talk about it until tonight. Right? But we pick up the most important one, the most relevant ones. Now, the point is, with such information in the market, alright, there is no lack of things that you will hear and you'll see and you'll read. My point is, I need to give you a solution. Correct or not? That's the most important thing. Good or bad, there must be a solution. There must be a way of countering whatever is negative here. So, some of these things are negative here. In other words, I told you the magic word. You're good this year? Focus. That's it. It will not happen. The rest of the negative things, it will be kept under lid. One of the things that you will see is funeral door. Then you're scared. Oh, every day I would step out and see a funeral. No. A funeral door basically means health alarm of somebody elderly or sick. In other words, if you are not sick, nobody at home is sick, this won't happen. No problem. Don't worry. Okay? Well, if somebody is sick, then just be aware to make sure that there is extra care given to these people. This is the solution. Alright? You can't reverse things, you can't change things. All this kind of things you can't change, basically. You are just given to it because the year itself is a universal will. It affects you. You just can't stay away from it. Okay. Now comes the best part. I'm going to teach you how to do some things for your house. Okay. Focus on only 2 things this year. Okay. Go to the center of your house. Take a compass. North, south, east, west. Simple, right? You know how to do? Don't know how to do? Ask your son. Son don't want to do? Ask your son-in-law. Still don't want? Then you call me. Don't worry. They say I'm a very reasonable man. Okay, now, go to the east. If you find the east is, let's say, study room, living room, TV area, good for you. What do? You capture their prosperity star, the number 9 star. That's just the universal advice all the Feng Shui masters in the world will tell you. Activate the East sector in 2025. How to activate? Simple. Go and buy an aquarium. You know aquarium? Fish tank. Fish tank, huh? Pump light filter. Don't need a fish. I say water, huh? You use water to activate, no? Correct or not? So pump light filter. Pump in there, leave it for a year. That's it. Coding. This is a very, very effective thing. Now, for the good things, I have to tell you how to take care of the bad things. Huh? And the only bad thing that you have to take care of is the number 5 star in the northeast. So, example, you check north, south, east, west, northeast sector, bedroom. Don't evict your son or daughter out of the room. Don't ask him to get out. Huh? Okay, what you do is, you must be aware of this one thing. Just in case this person is staying in this northeast room, right, falls ill, you'll find that it's very hard to recover. So, a couple of things you can't do, you must avoid. Don't burn candles in this room, in the northeast room. Okay? The second thing is, I've got to give you a little bit of insurance. To digest this number 5 star, you need to use metal. How to use metal? No need to buy dragons and tiger, no need. You go to Decathlon and buy weights. Metal, pure metal, don't buy a rubber one. How big? For 1,000 square feet, 2.5 kilo, finish. That's it. That's it, all right? So remember, fish tank, dumbbell, finish. How much did it cost you? Not much. Do I sell? No, you go and buy yourself. I don't sell. Oh, by the way, there'll be questions later on, and people ask me, oh, how big the fish tank? So I tell you, big tank, big wealth, small tank, small wealth. you got a garden, you can build a swimming pool inside there. Okay. So this is the basic Feng Shui, which is, I don't want to get more complicated than this. It's a very easy thing to apply. You should be able to apply this, no problem one, okay? Now, let's talk about the ox. People who are born in the year of ox becomes very creative. Just in case you are, let's say, a performer, YouTuber, you are influencer, all right? You sell things. Online, oh, very good, fantastic. Why? Elegant seal. Elegant seal is fantastic stuff for you to actually jack up your creativity, right? So your creativity stars is actually fantastic. You will see that there is a lot of going for you if you want to do what this thing is called conversion. So the elegant seal is about conversion. Means you've got to show your talents. You've got to show your work. You've got to show your creativity for people in order for it to be financially compensated for your work. So, ox is here, good. Just in case your daughter is an influencer on the YouTube, sell things, please stay in the background, help her. Yeah, she will do well. That's here for those of born year ox. Okay. What about things that is kind of negative over here? Just in case you're traveling, there's a Sky Warrior thing. Sky Warrior is a physical confrontation. Okay? Physical confrontation means, well, you try and observe lah. Nowadays, crazy people who crash cars into the crowd. Try and stay away. Try and stay away. Okay? That's just about it. And then, of course, there's Sky Cry. I don't know whether you've heard about it. Ken Cool. Sky Cry means what, you know? People who are born here, ox get very emotional. They'll cry about nothing. Just cry all. Hear a sad song, cry. See your picture, also cry. Watch a movie, cry. Okay, so you got a daughter is born a year ox. Yeah, she'll get very emotional. Just try and bear with her. It's only 12 months. Dragon, sky happiness. Quite the opposite. No unhappiness here. Everything very happy. Means what? If you were to work up this one or multiply the impact of this sky happiness, the more lucky you become. So those who are born in the year of the dragon this year, attend all the parties that you have. Just be in the company of happy people. Birthday party, wedding party, whatever lah. You're not invited, you get crashed in. Let's go. Just go, yeah, seriously. So be in the company of optimistic people. That is what the essence of this sky happiness is. It's a very strange thing. I know I make it very light-hearted, but I'll tell you, this is actually a very serious thing. In Chinese philosophy, there's this thing called 冲喜. You heard about it, right? 冲喜 means what? If you are happy, you take away all the unhappiness in the world. So 冲喜 is actually 天喜. It is a star, basic, so easy, all right? What about the rest of the stars? Actually, not so important. Okay. For the dragon, now it comes to the year of the dog. Those who are born in the year of the dog, very interesting. For the young people over here, the year of the dog has got this red matchmaker. Means this year, you can get married. Get married. These people will try and match you with somebody of interest. POI, people of interest. Right? So, but for heaven's sake, for those who are married, cannot marry all the time. This one is red matchmaker. It means that you're going to meet a lot of interesting people, which will interest you. All right, and this can actually be turned into positive activities. Okay, you know the pig has got this big consumer. This one has got a small consumer. Small consumer means if you've got a son, your daughter, family members, husband, wife, and you're born in the year of the he or she is born in the year of the dog. You expect Lazada and Shopee to ring your bell every day. Small consumer, they just spend, they just buy things, they don't know what they're buying, they're just happy about buying, right? So you've got to curb that as well. Just got to remind them. Sometimes they're just lost in this kind of things, and for people who don't understand this, they say, hey, it's not a bad thing. That's always the justification. It's not a bad thing. I don't kill, I don't drink, I just spend money, but at the end of the day, who's paying? You lot. That's right. That's what you're waiting for, right? I tell you, this one is very interesting. Okay, tell you what to do. Now, this year in 2025, there are 5 days. I give you all the 5 days. Okay. For those who are going for holiday, extended holiday for the next 5 days, I will tell you exactly what to do with it. Okay, now, so 28th of January, you take your dinner, right? Get dinner ready, don't jump into bed. Okay, stay past midnight, 12:30 into Chinese New Year. I didn't say the wrong thing. Okay, I repeat. Stay past midnight, 12:30. All right. If you can see the north direction, 12:30, you see a star. You will see a star. All right. This is the God of wealth. I put in all the observations there. All right. Meaning to say, for heaven's sake, please dress up. Don't go and invite the God of wealth in your nightgown. Please dress up properly. Light up the house. Very important. You must open up the doors and windows, light up the house. Because you don't open the doors and the window, you invite the God of wealth, he will go to your neighbor. Second thing, even if you open up the door and window, you must brighten it up. Because if you are successful to invite him in, he goes into a house, take one round, so dark, trip and fall. He won't come back next year. So, important, light up. Once you see the star, connect. You know how to connect? Bluetooth. Wi-Fi. Just connect. And then for half an hour, the star will remain there. After half an hour, you'll disappear. Alright? You'll remain there. Come on, guys. 30 minutes. You've got a lot of time to make all your wishes in the world. Just wish. Okay? The rest of the days, well, These are, now this is very, very non-religious, okay? You're just connecting to a star. That's what it means. So anybody can do it. Now just in case you want to make sure that, let's say your wife, your husband, now don't believe one, or just say, oh, come. After dinner, come, have some red wine in the balcony, look at this star, so nice, right? You get it too. Okay, so that's the way to do it. Now, what about things that is you need to avoid? What happened is this, I've got this thing which is very attached to me, so I always choose auspicious dates for things. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with this story, but it's a very interesting story. You will find it out if you read my website and read my book, that kind of thing. All right. Okay. I spend a lot of time just to pick up these dates. Meaning to say, you don't start, for example, your travel on these days. In case you are traveling, let's say, 18th of May, don't start on the 18th of May. Start one day before or one day after. The rest of the days is okay. Simple. Easy, right? Please don't cancel your travel plans and holiday because your husband or your wife very upset. Don't cancel, I'm saying this only, Don't cancel, please. And then, there are people who are going for long holidays. Chinese New Year cannot invite God of Wealth. Boom. These are the things, and the rest of the year that you can actually activate your wealth as well. Right? Orders are given to you because I have done a lot of calculations. It's benefited a lot of people. Just try and get it done. Right? It's simple, it's easy. You know the one that is using fan. Somebody asked me, hey, no blades can or not can. They got lava, Dyson fan, also can, never mind. It's okay. What about lights? Any kind of lights. Any kind of lights will do. This is the essence of Feng Shui. It's simple. Don't complicate matters. That's what it is. Alright? And of course, this couple of days, people who are still working. These are the best dates to stop work, best dates to start work. You want to take this for your son, your daughter, whatever, take it. Right? And so with this, I would tell you that, I'm looking forward to a very, very optimistic year in 2025. It's going to be a great year. I know it. I feel it. Not just because I got all the good stars. I got some good and some bad. Right? I'll tell you, insofar as I'm concerned, and by the way, I just celebrated my birthday 3 days ago. I'm still working, tell you don't guess tell you I'm 65. These are the dates that is good for you. I want to wish you a very happy and prosperous year of the snake. Right? All of you please stay by and for some Q&A. If you have questions, I'll be happy to answer you. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Ken. Thank you to all three speakers for the really informative session. There's an amazing turnout today, and I'm sure you have many questions for our speakers. Without further ado, can we invite all three speakers back on stage for the Q&A? Kindly scan the QR code here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please scan the QR code so you can post your questions. While we wait for that, maybe I'll start with Master Ko. I guess the first question, and I think it's a very important question, the government has been talking about cooling measures for the property sector. Further cooling measures, they've said it's not off the table. How do you think about property going into this year?
Property is very related to Feng Shui, all right? And I would like to look at it from both a macro point of view as well as a micro point of view. So I deal with a lot of developers as well as the sales agencies. What is my point over here? Sure, there will be external policies that are going to affect the buying patterns, the optimism about people acquiring new properties and so on. But as has been in the past 20 years, ever since I've been ever talking about this, I've advised people, look, property is still one of the best class assets in Singapore, and looking forward, what does it look like? I'll say this. You've got to crunch the numbers, right? Our population is going to grow within the next 6-7 years to about another million people. With the numbers of new homes coming on stream, there is a real correlation here, which I will leave it to you to crunch. Do you think there's enough homes in Singapore with the government even building even more? So, I'll say this, without speculation, the property market will continue to do very, very well as far as Singapore is concerned for the next 20 years.
20 years, okay. That's very good to hear. So buy property. Okay, audience, just scan the QR code. I'm sure you've got some burning questions to ask. Please do so by scanning the QR code. Brian, let me ask you a question. You talked about, there's been a lot of media discussion about the Singapore Johor economic zone, right? Where do you think, from an economic standpoint, have you done any work on how that will actually impact the Singapore economy in terms of overall contribution, or is it too early to say?
Yeah, thanks, Thilan. So firstly, we are eagerly awaiting the details of the specific incentives that will be offered for the special economic zone. I think on the Malaysia side, they're set to announce more detailed incentives for each of the flagship zones, and on the Singapore side, the Singapore government is preparing an investment facilitation fund. I think broadly speaking, I would say that the SEZ just makes sense. I think from Singapore's perspective, I will focus on that today. From Singapore's perspective, it is something that is inevitable in my opinion, because ultimately speaking, as Singapore becomes a higher cost society, as Singapore runs out of resources with our limited land, for instance, ultimately speaking, to maintain competitiveness, we need to cooperate a lot with other countries. And what better cooperation than with our immediate neighbor? So ultimately speaking, I think the SEZ is good for Singapore companies because it means that they can tap on Johor's lower operating costs. And of course, not to mention that demand is a lot larger as well. Johor is a big market. Malaysia is a much bigger market than Singapore, right? And also, I think in terms of investments, Singapore will be looking to promote joint investments in both Singapore as well as Johor. In Singapore, it will be perhaps advanced manufacturing, it will be headquarters, it will be advanced services. And ultimately speaking, I think if we can, both Singapore and Johor can integrate well and combine their strengths, it will be a really positive economic boost for our country.
Excellent. So something to look forward to. Master Ko, let me ask you, China. China has been trying to stimulate the economy. It's been, since coming out of COVID and reopening, it still hasn't been able to get the engines going. How do you think about China in this current global environment, and how do you think China's prospects are as we go forward?
Okay, I think this resonates very well with what I'm asking all of you to do. Remember where I told you to activate your house is in the east. Correct? That's a prosperity star. Yeah? And so, even if according to the Feng Shui chart, 2025 is going to do very well for China. There's going to be a lot of prosperity. Now, how do we look at it from this point of view? First and foremost, of course, it is, besides the resilience that Brian has spoken about, the domestic consumption. And Thilan, you also have mentioned that the China government is trying, pumping in a lot of money just to stimulate. And so it is big enough in the economy to, well, be self-reliant and self-supporting. So will I look into China if I were to say, look into this kind of opportunities or investments or looking forward to better business from China? I would say yes, and absolutely yes, definitely. Yeah. So 2025 is going to be a great year for China.
Okay, so that's very interesting, Master Ko, because when I look at investors, global investors, they're probably at the lowest waiting for China right now. So they've pretty much given up on China. So that actually gives a pretty good opportunity if China's prosperity and fortunes do turn around. That actually gives a very, very good signal that things can be very, very strong. Thank you. I also want to ask, I know, from our previous conversations as well, you don't want to comment about individuals. So let me ask you this. We have Trump being inaugurated as the president of the US in a couple of days. And I know you probably won't want to comment about Trump, but how do you think about the US right now? I mean, the market is doing extremely well. It's hitting historical highs pretty much on a weekly basis. There's a lot of expectation with the Trump administration, but there's also a lot of concern with the Trump administration from a geopolitical point of view as well. So how are you thinking about the US at this stage?
So I assume the question is more geared towards or pinpointed towards the economic point of view, right? So interestingly, last year in 2024, BBC called me for an interview. And they have only one question: will Trump win? I gave them a 3-word answer: he'll be back. But you see, let's put it this way: what is Trump as an individual? I mean, politics aside, whether you like him or hate him, that's one thing that you've got to put aside. But he is very business driven. I put it this way. Yeah, and insofar as it's concerned, he's also a very, very outward-looking person as a Republican, all right? So, in this, he is also trying to leverage all around the world to make sure that it becomes an external stimulant for the US market. That's how I look at it. And it's a very interesting things at play, because he's got the next 4 or 5 years. My point of view is, well, I think he can party for the next 4 or 5 years, because the rest of the administration will do the job, and it'll be a good job. Look at the team. Again, like it or hate it, it's going to be effective. So I'm still bullish about where the American economy is going, and then overall on an international platform, it will not be in negative territory. That's for sure.
Okay, that's good to hear. I've got a couple of other follow-up questions, and one is, globally, we've got so many conflicts right now. Right? I think probably one of the least peaceful times in global history after the Second World War in the Middle East. We got Ukraine. How do you think we should think about all these conflicts going into this year? Do you see some resolution with some of these conflicts?
Well, if you are in my audience last year, then I would have told you a couple of things, amongst which I'll say that the Israel-Hamas war is going to cool off. I told the audience that. That's one thing. The second thing is about the South China Sea conflict. All right. Look, with external policies from the US and Trump, that again is going to cool down, which will leave China to play the big brother role. All right. So, are there going to be conflicts? He has openly, I think it was in just news, just 2 days ago, he was speaking with the Chinese president, and his word was very simple. He wants to make sure that the next couple of years is going to bring us peace and prosperity. So that was, if you can listen to this guy's words, I think you'll put it into action, right? Even if it is just for the sake of doing business. So I think it's going to be a peaceful a couple of years in time to come. Sure, there'll be blips here and there. Sure, there will be threats of, a little bit of pockets of terrorism threats and all this kind of things, but it basically will be under control. And we can look forward to a better year in terms of peace, in terms of prosperity.
Very optimistic. I think
Yes, sir.
That's a very good place to be. And maybe one final question, Masako. I know a lot of investors last year went very big on India. And so far this year, India is having a little bit of a wheeze in terms of where market performance is. How should we think about India, which is now becoming more and more important from a global markets point of view? How should we think about India's prospects?
Okay, again from Feng Shui point of view, where does it lie? Well, I'll tell you this. If you look at it from India as I'll say underperformer point of view, this is the time to look at India. Because when Trump goes into high gear of worldwide economics, India will not be left behind. So it's just a matter of quantum. And you've got to go into the industry-centric kind of a focus. It may be just India as a huge, large economy, but then there are industries over here that is highlighted as things that will do well. So what is it that will do well? For example, I think it's very easy to just fish out here. Technology, AI, energy, for example, they are all big things in India. And who shouldn't miss this? Okay? But of course, it's a matter of familiarity. But don't take it from me. Take it from the experts here. These are experts. Right? And they will give you all the right things to do.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I think just to kind of summarize, pretty optimistic about China and India going into this year. A lot of conflicts might actually start to slow down, and so that means generally be bullish on equities for 2025. With that, we are out of time, so I'm going to stop Q&A right now, and our sincere thanks on behalf of Maybank for being with us today. But please don't leave yet. We have a group photo to take, so just stick around for just a few more minutes, and we've got a lion dance as well. Thank you.